Hello, everybody. My name is Ed. I'm in my armchair, and the smoking lamp is lit. Guess what I'm smoking today? My favorite pipe. Look at this guy. It is a Savinelli Churchwarden. But there's a little story with this. This came from London. My parents went to London for a little vacation. They actually went quite a few times, but the first time they went to the Sherlock Holmes Museum, mainly because they knew I loved Sherlock Holmes, but I had also talked my dad into reading Sherlock Holmes, and he's an avid reader, so he just went through them all, loved them. We used to talk about them. So in London, went to the Sherlock Holmes Museum, and they bought me this. My first churchwarden ever. I mean, this is, we're talking 45 years ago, somewhere around there. So that brings us to Mother's Day coming up. I got a little note on my phone here. Sorry, I got confused. Mother's Day. Today is Thursday. Sunday is Mother's Day. And my mother's birthday is May 13th. Or would have been, was 13th. That meant my mother's birthday and Mother's Day was almost, she was right there. It was right there, with Mother's Day, always within a few days of each other. And because of that, let me tell you a little bit about my mother. She kind of was raised in a small little town on the Delaware River, just south of Trenton, New Jersey. When she was 16, her oldest sister was already living in New York City, and my mom joined her there. She was a waitress at a little diner, and in a studio, a second couple floors above that diner, they had a guy who was commissioned to do the 25th anniversary of the Girl Scouts poster. And he saw my mother and asked her if she would pose for it. And she said she would, as long as her sister could join her as a chaperone. So she did this, took her 2 meetings with the artist, which she got $25, 25 whole dollars. Of course, this is in 1935, and so it was a lot. So she had, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put a little photo up about now and take a look at it. So she posed for that photo. Have a little more. See this guy here? Same, the poster, but also this was on a, yeah, terrible, terrible lighting. Sorry. Here we go. This was the cover of the catalog for the Girl Scouts. My mother always thought, I mean, she saw this poster on buses. Um, she thought it was only just around New York City. And that's what she believed all the way till my brother, who was working in New York City in 1990, there was a Girl Scout museum um, right close to where he worked. And one day he popped into it, and there was the photo or the poster of my mother. Um, they had reissued it for the 75th anniversary of the Girl Scouts. Pretty cool. So he had copies of that, and I'll show you a little bit more of that right here. So he had some copies made, and my mom signed them for all of her kids. Now, a little while past that, I was living in Denver, and there's an article in the newspaper about a couple that had their kind of own personal Girl Scout museum. I mean, they had everything. And it was written up in the paper. And because of that, I called and asked if they had, this poster, which they did. And I go, do you know who the artist is? And they didn't know. She says, but you know who the model was? And I told them that was my mother. And they invited me to come for a special walkthrough of the museum and everything. Incredible amount of stuff that they had. It truly was a museum, but it was just in their house. They had it was a big duplex, but they had the full basement all just filled with uniforms and everything. So I was talking to them, and that's when they showed me, the catalog um, copy, because basically that's the catalog Girl Scout troops would order from for uniforms, for patches, for anything that they needed. My mother was on that catalog. They pointed out, and this is the first we heard about this. They also, that year, um, any Girl Scout, any gal that became a Girl Scout got an ID. And half of it had a picture of my mother, and then the other was their name and stuff. And so everything, or a lot of stuff that year, all had my mother's photo on it. So that was something I told my mom, because she never knew that. She really thought that this poster was just a New York thing only. She did not realize that she was on the catalog cover. um, for all the Girl Scouts that year, the ID, they had a few other things that she was on basically for that whole year. And then when they reissued it, same thing. She had no idea how this was. So anyway, that was my mother. Really beautiful person. She won a Scarlett O'Hara look-alike contest. You know, that's what she looked like. And unfortunately, I didn't get any of her good looks. I got my looks from my dad, my hair from my dad. Not the same thing. So anyway, uh, just a little something about my mom, mainly because Mother's Day is coming up. Her birthday, well, again, she's been passed for quite over 10 years now. But I thought I'd just pass that on to you. Thank you for listening. Well, that's all for today. Just a short one to just bring up Mother's Day. Also, another little thing with my mom. She also was, in the Army during World War II. So both my parents were veterans, World War II. And her connection to pipes. Obviously, my dad, I've mentioned before, my dad probably smoked a pipe or a cigar probably pretty much every day. At first, it was mainly cigars. After I got out of the Navy, visiting, he had pipes. His dad had smoked pipes, but I was talking to him about how great a pipe is compared to a cigar. And pretty much after that, he mainly was smoking his pipes. And you've seen a few of them. So my mom put up with that forever, never mentioning anything, never complaining. That was what she did. And she did also, which I do, she lit a candle. Whenever my dad would be smoking his pipe, she'd have a candle going in the room to kind of diffuse the smoke, which I've recommended. And a lot of people have tried that. Having that candle does help a lot. And she probably got that from her mother, because her father smoked pipe, but mainly cigars. So there's her connection to pipe smoking. And of course, lighting a candle when you're smoking your pipe eventually led to the smoking lamp. And of course, the Navy tradition of it. But I was reminded of their tradition while thinking about and doing a candle whenever I'm smoking a pipe. Reminds me of home. Thank you for listening. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that. Little reminiscing on my part. But hey, it's Mother's Day. You should be doing stuff. If your mother is passed away, remember her always. And if she's still alive, love her always. So, I hope you liked this. And if you did, remember to hit the like button, subscribe. And remember, if you don't like this, you're not going to get to heaven. So may your smoking lamp always be lit. And take care out there.